And welcome to the Talon Outdoors Show. I'm Charlie.
And I'm JD.
And I'm Grant.
And I'm Fred.
And say hey, Paul. Say it louder, because
I'm
Fred's
Captain Paul Tyre.
the mic down there. There we go. Well, you didn't have to say it louder when the mic was in your face. But,
All right. Do we need to redo it again?
No.
We never redo anything.
We're going to be like the Beatles here with this mic.
Yeah, they released a new song. I don't know who released it. Whoever was left released it.
Yeah, they went back and did some recordings of the. They had some dead Beatles that they had done some work. It was the last song they were working on, and they somehow or another I don't know. I heard the song.
AI.
They were able to clean it up.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because apparently it sucked, and they cleaned it up. So
and it doesn't suck as much.
Maybe. I hadn't heard it.
It sounded like one of these peace songs that
Yeah.
Well, I think it wasn't it John Lennon that wrote it, so that would kind of be appropriate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was like if you had a date, with hair under her armpits, it'd be that kind of.
Man, it's not something I want to think about today.
No, I'm just saying.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Well, y'all forgive Fred and all.
Be with all the starving pygmies down in New Guinea.
That's where I was going. I couldn't remember how to say it. Oh, man. So we just got back you just got back in town literally like not long ago.
Like last night.
I've been back all week, but but I've been so busy I don't feel like I've been back. So we talked about on the last show we were going on a hunting trip, that we were on our hunting trip, and JD was going on his 2 hunting trips, and so let's talk about yours first. So you bought your wife a hunting trip.
Yeah, this was a hunting trip that I bought for her for Christmas last year. So she'd been waiting a while for last year's Christmas present, but it finally rolled around and got here. We were hunting in Princeton, Kentucky, with the outfitters called Whitetail Dreams. Mm-hmm. He's got, oh my gosh, he's got high fence there with 300+ inch deer in it. Unbelievable, just these genetically enhanced. I don't say genetically modified or enhanced. It's selective breeding to acquire ginormous rack deer inside the high fence. But he also owns a bunch of property, farmland, alfalfa fields, pastures, bottoms, and cow pastures, that kind of stuff, on both sides of his high fence operation. And he lets about 10 people a year hunt on it.
Well, they joined the lease. From what I remember him saying, they become part of his lease. Yep.
So we leased the property, and we leased a hunting stand for 5 days, and Annie killed a giant 9-point. Couldn't be happier. She couldn't be happier. We sat for the first 2 days, sitting all day from daylight till dark in the tree stand. Take your lunch with you, kind of thing. They're nice box stands. And saw a lot of deer, and the third morning it finally we kind of had a warm spell, which it affects their deer up there just like it does here when we have warm weather. It's not necessarily conducive for deer hunting or the rut, and their buck to doe ratio up there is essentially 1-to-1, it maybe 1-to-2 at the most. So they have a legitimate 2 weeks of just craziness going on.
Old boy's got to fight for it.
Old boy's got to find it and fight for it, chase it down, and yeah, it was an incredible 2 days. So third morning we're there. It's about 4 minutes after legal shooting, or 4 minutes into legal shooting time, but 30 minutes before daylight.
That. Well, I mean, you know what I meant to say was.
Yeah. So we had been legal for her to shoot a deer for 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think sunrise that morning was 5:58, and it was 6:02. So we're watching a doe it's at a feeder out in the woods, and sitting there looking at this cow pasture, and I busted one of my hearing aids, so I was hearing aidless in one of my ears. So what little bit of hearing I have left was very diminished, and I hear her say something, and she moves the gun over. Swings the gun over away from where we're looking at this doe, expecting a buck to come in to where that doe was. And So when she moved the gun, I was already had my binoculars in my hand. I'm looking at the deer, looking in the woods for the buck that's probably going to be hanging around there. And I look right down 24 yards from the stand, and there was a buck, a big buck. And so she's on it, and she can't see the horns because it was a weird angle and light situation like it was, and I just shoot him now. And she's like, I can't. I said, shoot him now. She was trying to tell me she couldn't tell what he was, and I said, shoot him now, because I'm going, okay, 24 yards from the stand. He's got to be smelling us at this point. It's got to be. He's fixing the bolt. So, a couple seconds later, she put the kapow on him, and he literally just tumped over right there, 24 yards from the stand. And we waited a little while, and, of course, we're hunting with other guys, so we got a group text going on. What was it? Who shot? And da-da-da-da-da. And I said, it was Annie's, killed a good one. And Richard Gray, the gentleman that runs the operation, he texted me and said, you want me to come get the deer? You want me to come get you? And I'm like, we're 4 minutes into, 5 minutes, 6 minutes at this time into hunting for the day. I'm like, no, you stay right where you're at. A lot of activity. The doe didn't even run on. I mean, it was still deer around. And so we jumped down real quick, and everybody's wanting a picture. We jump down real quick. We run over there, take a picture, get back in the tree stand, and we're literally just walked back in the stand, and we haven't switched places, haven't switched guns out, none of this kind of stuff, because now it's my turn to hunt. She got her deer. She's done. It's my turn. And I hear her all of a sudden say, doe running. And I'm looking around. I don't see a doe. I don't see anything. I'm looking out the windows of the stand. I see nothing. And she's just all excited. And she goes, big buck behind her. And I'm still looking. And finally I looked out of the front window of the blind of the deer stand, and 15 yards from the base of the stand is another deer as big as the one she shot, another monster standing there. And I'm literally standing there at the door with my binoculars, no gun, my phone in my hand, just taking a picture, just getting back in the deer stand. I look out the window and go, oh, goodness.
That's when I'd have drawn my Glock 48.
You pull that C-Camp out and have it.
Yeah. So,
I've killed one with this pistol I'm carrying. I have killed one from 24.
Well, that's exactly what somebody else said. Don't you wish you had your Glock with you? And I was like, well, I did, but it all happened. Well, what happened was the doe literally ran between her dead deer, 24 yards, and the base of the blind we're sitting in, ran through there at Mach 2.
And it's rut there.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
he don't care about you.
Right. Well, he did, but what he did care about was when he got within about 20 yards of that dead deer laying there, that's also a big buck in the rut that I'm sure he recognized the smell of. That joker put on brakes like you wouldn't believe, stops dead still, looks at that dead deer there, and takes a stage left and boogity gone. Yeah, never even picked my gun up.
That was his cousin.
Somebody has got Bob.
Hey, what had happened was that deer that was dead had whooped his butt before.
That's exactly what I said. I said,
and he said something bigger and badder than him's around
crap.
here.
Bob is right here, and he's fixing to get on me for chasing one of his does around. And so it got real doggone exciting there for a good bit. And then it started warming up, and late that afternoon, sitting in the stand, I saw a just absolute, just huge monster buck right before, about 10 minutes before, can't see anymore. Sundown's already happened. We're in that 30-minute period after sunset. At the far end of the field, 279 yards, I had ranged the far fence line, and it was her buck or doe running, and about the time I looked up, it's a doe running and a buck 10 yards behind her, and they're both doing Mach 2, and I got my gun up just about the time they made it into the woods. I wouldn't have taken the shot anyway on that deer running like that. And then right at dark, I don't know if it was another buck or the same buck or what, but another big one walked out and kind of just cut the corner of the field, but still, once again, at 300 yards and no ethical shot. I didn't take it, so I didn't get one. But I tell you what, it's a beautiful, that country up there. We were 16 miles from land between the lakes. It's beautiful country for deer. It's just an awesome trip.
Well, you had a good time.
Yeah, had a good time.
Maybe we'll go next year.
We'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. I'm probably on the YouTube version of this. I'm going to upload part of what we just did because probably not all of it, but the stuff that makes Fred look silly.
Yeah.
So that was 90% of it.
I'm gonna catch Fred looking at me here in a minute.
No, you're not. I'm not looking. I'm not looking over there.
I'm not looking.
I'm not looking.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Be like a dog, done something wrong. He's like, you can't see me.
Yeah, if I don't see you, you don't see me. There's bad guys that have done that
just
over the years.
To top off the whole Annie deer hunting story, one of the funniest things after the doe that ran by us that the buck was chasing and the buck ran off and I didn't get to shoot him. That doe that ran by us, she ran off in the edge of the woods
and said, "He got weed.
He got weed." No. What she 5 minutes after all this stuff, she comes walking back out of the woods, walks behind the stand about 50 yards, lays down in the cow pasture, stayed there until
waiting on him to come on back.
Stayed there until we called Richard to come get the deer. We loaded the deer up. We climbed down out of the stand, loaded the deer up. We're talking and all this, blah, blah, blah. She's still laying there. We drove the deer back to the camp, got it hung up, got everything going took pictures and so forth and so on, and got back to the stand, and she was still laying there for about another 15 minutes. She finally got up. She was so tired from that deer that buck chasing her. And I think she ran to us for help, and she got it. So
could be. Yeah.
We rescued her.
So she really did say he got weed.
Yeah, he got weed. He got weed.
See, what it was she was mad at him, and like most of the criminals I ever caught back when I was working robbery cases, and most of the ones we caught were caught because somebody
ever make your girlfriend mad if you do
got caught running around on the girlfriend, and she said,
"He got weed."
I tell you what, I know where the money is from the robbery. And I'm going to put you right on. Now, this is where it's at. And the thing is, and that's what she had enough. And she said, I'm going to come right here because I know he's going to chase me. And that man right there done killed him. And so I'm going to hang out right here.
They done got Bob. And
then later on, she's going to be saying, I don't know what happened. But
I'm sorry, honey. I didn't know where you went.
I was waiting on you. Just come on out here. Come on over here. Yeah, just right here.
Yeah.
Just stand right here. Yeah. Kaboom. Sorry, baby. I didn't mean that.
I didn't know they were going to do that to you.
I thought they was just going to fuss at you a little bit.
So 4 days of this. 4 days of this. That's what just happened.
So our bird trip is what we wanted. I want to go ahead and get I didn't want to neglect the deer hunting trip that JD had with Annie because I was interested in hearing. I hadn't had a chance to hear any of the stories. I just got the picture the other day of the deer and I went, holy cow, that's huge, huge, and
huge.
So
huge.
So yeah, we did the trip this year. We took the van.
Yeah,
loaded up on the van.
You took the van.
Well, some people had enough sky miles to just like slide in and hey, where's all my luggage and my stuff?
Where's my stuff? Here's my unload my stuff.
They rolled up the airport and I'm like, do I need to get into this thing or I need to buy some air freshener first? And
no, we had planned. We were trying to figure out how we were going to kidnap you and make it look, but we were afraid we didn't know how the law was going to take it up there.
We literally planned. Okay, when we roll up, and Fred's out there. Somebody throw the door open. I'm going to jump out. I'm going to bear hug him and drag him in there and throw him down in the van, and we're going to take off.
They
got weed. Help me.
We just didn't know. We didn't know how they were going to take it, and we really didn't want to spend our trip up there because then you went. Fred talking about, I don't know these guys.
Never seen them before.
Well, then why we got his luggage? So
we took that too.
I'd say anyway. So we got up there, we got situated, got settled in, and it's always good to be there. It's always good to be there with those guys.
Went to Ken's. Don't forget.
Yeah, we got to go to Ken's.
Yeah,
grocery liquor hunting supply store.
Yeah, that liquor store.
Bank, lotto, casino,
financial advisor,
yes,
insurance. Yes.
So we go in and so we went into the hunting section through one side, and then Fred's like, they had a little display of liquor in there. Fred's like, I thought there was a liquor store in here. Last time we was in there was a liquor store in here. So no, that's around the corner. You go around the corner and it's like Nirvana. They got all kinds of stuff in here that
Yes, they do.
They did. They had Silver Egg wine.
And he found his brand in there.
I did. Got 2 bottles up there.
Little lit elf. So, not him. He holds up his liquor bottle, and what does it say on the side?
It said Elite.
Elite. Okay. Well, but the thing was, is the letters were weird sizes, and the E didn't look like, it looked more like a F, and the T looked like a, and all I saw was lit elf. And that's my dyslexia going in. I'm like, well, that's appropriate, Fred. What is it? He goes, this is good stuff.
Stoli Elite.
It actually was pretty good.
It was. Well,
and JD, your brother brought something that was pretty good.
That was good.
Huckleberry something.
Oh, that Huckleberry man, that. Oh my goodness! And I don't like straight. I don't drink straight.
That was like
liquor.
That was
perfect for the flask. That was a perfect flask bourbon that's got a just really
and
good taste.
He had it in a flask hunting because I remember taking a swig of it
at the end of the last. Yeah,
not that I condone drinking and hunting, but
we were done at that point. The guns were unloaded at that point. It was the last walk of the first day or second day where we just tore them up.
Well, they run the operation extremely safely, so there's none of that going on. But Jesse and Travis and
Junior, Jesse. Travis,
yes,
Doug Jr., yes,
and you know how I am with names, but Jesse and Travis, it's their organization now, and then there was Eric this year.
Eric,
he was a new addition.
New guy. He didn't probably know what to think about us.
No,
he's a real clean cut, sort of conservative, reserve guy.
Train engineer.
Wasn't really sure. Yeah, and that's who you expect to be a train engineer.
Yeah, he looked like Jimbo Fisher.
He did.
I wonder if he's got that kind of money.
Yeah. He'd show up to the bank and do a withdrawal.
He could have passed for Jimbo Fisher's younger, better-looking brother. I'm telling you, because he was clean shaven.
Yeah, he was clean. So we got back to the lodge, and they had those big old ice balls, and I poured me a Stoli Elite. What I didn't know was every time I'd sit it down and go get something, Charlie would pour more in there.
You were playing the guitar. You were playing the guitar and entertaining everybody with your version of
that's about the time
guitar humor. Yeah. And
I hope none of those tapes get out.
We've got a few, and so it's short excerpts. We tried
that stuff ever.
I was doing you a favor because I figured you're sitting there playing and your drink got empty, and I said, well, let me just slip over here behind him. I thought you knew I was doing it. And he kept reaching back and drinking that endless glass of
Stoli Elite
of lit elf.
I was like,
wow, lit elf.
And he became
a lit elf.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Now I'll tell you what, Fred.
JD had to remind me of the words. I mean, he's looking them up on the iPhone because I couldn't even. I don't even know if they were making any sense. Some of the ones
you were singing, we didn't know the words to because that stuff we can't repeat on the air.
Well, some of the ones he knew that I already knew the words to, so there's that.
Some of that. There was one I wrote about my wife that
I didn't know the words to that one.
Yeah, that one. I hope that doesn't get out. Something to do with.
Hold on, let me check my phone.
No. All I know is that everybody in the hunting was. I looked up and everybody was in there, and I'm like, oh, geez.
Bigger crowds than you're used to playing. You had that one coming, Fred.
They must be drunk because they ain't leaving.
Well, you impressed the fire out of Robert, my stepdad. He was that guy's good, and I said,
he impressed me. Now I'm telling you, Fred can play the guitar.
Oh yeah, I was impressed.
Robert.
I'll tell you what, though, taking care of that dadgum guitar became a pain in our rear end because, it can't get humid, it can't get hot, it can't get this, can't get that. My wife gave it to me. I got to make sure I take care of it. I'm like, well, next time, take it on the dadgum plane.
I got it.
We can't leave it in the truck. When it gets back, it's got to be put in air conditioning.
Well, it's a wood guitar. It's a Martin. You don't want to.
You treat that better than your wife, probably.
I do.
Yeah.
She doesn't listen to the show.
Figure she got enough sense coming out the rain, but the guitar doesn't. So you're like, don't let nothing happen to it.
Yeah.
You ended up in what was it?
The E string was all messed up, and the G string was like way out of whack, which is
nobody was messing with your G string.
We did not mess with your G string.
I promise you, we were not messing with your G string.
Nobody even thought about.
I don't even remember seeing it. Thank God I don't. And if I had seen it, I wouldn't want that stuck in my brain.
Well, I got my finger on it and got it fixed.
You did. Was it not tight enough? Was that what it was?
That's what it was.
You needed to tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You just tighten it up till you squeal at the right frequency.
I got to tell you, if you could ever have Robert on this show.
You all right, JD?
Yeah. I just got a G string caught in my throat.
Because Robert was cracking me up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that night when I looked over Robert, I said, "You see all the tattoos on that waitress?" He said, "Son, those ain't tattoos. That's a warning from the Surgeon General."
She had a revolver and a black widow. Had a tattoo of a revolver and a black widow on her arm. He said, "I don't think them's tattoos. I think them's warnings from the Surgeon General." We about fell out the chair. Don't mess with her. Do not mess around with her.
I wasn't able to finish eating. It was so hard. He said,
Robert had himself a large time. Your stepdad had a large time.
We'll talk more about that when we come back. So on a little more serious note, outside of our
we'll get back to the silliness later.
Oh yeah, we'll get back to that. So stay tuned. So we've got
I caught that.
So we got. Just you just sit over there and tune your G string, you'll be all right. So when we've been discussing CWD and stuff, in the Wiregrass area and North Florida and all, and so recently I had acquired, because of the massive number of deer around the farm and just total destruction of soybean crops and everything else, has required some depredation tags, and something I had not done since the last time I got tags about 20 years ago. It was go out and hunt at night, and because it's not legal, you ride
normally not legal to hunt at night.
You pull in the yard at night and you see some deer eyes or whatever. You don't really think about I had no idea how bad the problem was there. The other night I went out, drove across the backfield, 32 deer just across the hill from my house in a 14-acre soybean field.
That's a problem.
Deer.
Wow.
That is problematic. And the thing is they're just going out there and eating the soybeans that are falling off of the stalk, and just it was terrible. Now I know we normally have 18 or 20 in a 16-acre patch across from my sister's house, which there's nothing left but whatever weeds that came up in the soybeans.
Stems.
And you can go out there and there's still soybeans out there.
All does?
Not much. No, it's bucks and does and yearlings, and you sit there and you can watch them, and there's does with twins. But the point being is there's too many mouths to be able to sustain agriculture there. So I've started exercising these depredation tags, and what I'm doing, I'm saving the heads, and I'm calling FWC, and I'm getting them to come get them so they can do the testing. I'm crossing my fingers, holding my breath that none of them come back positive, because I don't want to know that it's around the house. But we are in Jackson County, and that's close enough. Part of Jackson County is in the targeted area per our recent discussion. with FWC, and so I'm taking this seriously and I'm doing my part. But Lord, it's like they just keep coming and coming and coming, and you'll go out there and harvest a deer, go get it, drive down the road, come back, and they're right back in there again. I mean,
can't even run them off.
No, it's like swatting at gnats. I mean, they're everywhere. I've never seen, and I've never in my lifetime seen that many deer in one place. And the neighbor, I talked to one of the neighbors, and I said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, we're doing these exercises, these tags. I don't want y'all to freak out when you hear, it won't sound like a rifle, just suppressed, but I'm trying to be neighbor friendly. Just FYI, this is what's going on. We're not out poaching." And he says, "Yeah, we got 30-something deer on cameras the other night at one time across our cameras." And I was like, "I don't believe it." And then I went over there and saw 30-something deer on our place. And I've never in my life, never. It's crazy, which is, and that presents an issue because your buck and doe ratios get way off, and it's harder to hunt because you don't have a real rut because they're not having to compete with each other.
That's exactly right. And that's the big difference between here and like Kentucky, where I just got back from. It's their buck to doe ratio up there is at most one buck for two does.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's a lot of states allow, like in Kentucky, when you buy a deer license, you get a buck tag and a doe tag. And they really, years ago, they made you kill your doe. Now, this didn't work in Kentucky because people rebelled. They didn't want to kill the does. But for a while up in Kentucky, you had to kill a doe before you were allowed to kill a buck. So they really wanted to thin them down, and they do thin them down up there for food during bow season and whatnot. Now, we're up there. We're not going to shoot does because there's a good chance that your doe is a live decoy, running around there to bring your buck in. But they're a lot of states do a good job of managing their herd that way. In South Texas, where you see all these trophy deer,
sure,
they want a 1-to-1 ratio. They want one buck for every doe.
And Florida gets complicated because you've got so many different regions in Florida, and the rut runs from the south to the north, and you've got different types of agriculture, and you've got different types of landscape, and you've got basically where we're South Alabama,
sure,
and over here it's South Georgia, and then anywhere else it's sandhills and whatever, and it's just so it's
hard to manage.
I don't envy the job that they have, but anyway, we appreciate the effort they're putting forth, and we will be back in just a minute. So we probably had a little conversation in the bottom of the hour, but for our online show, it's still confusing because we don't air that bottom segment in Tallahassee. But so my stepdad Robert did in fact go, and my mom convinced him to go, and he was concerned that he wouldn't be able to keep up. He did find out that there is a lot of walking.
Yes.
But he was blocking just fine. So he broke out his 1100 shotgun that he left in the shed for a little while and had some rust on it. He was concerned about that, but he shot that sucker just fine.
Oh, he did.
And it functioned flawlessly. And
he shot that first bird. I think I was blocking. I was blocking a flank, and I saw him. I'd shot, I think, 2, and then one of them went his way, and I yelled at him, and he popped that thing, and it fell down, and you could see him grinning. At that point he was like a kid in a candy store. And then next thing I know, he nailed that bird too, and it thudded on the ground. Then the bird got up and ran away.
Those things are tough. They're tough.
They're not hard to hit. That's like we say all the time. They are not hard to hit necessarily. Now, this last trip with the shooting was the sportiest shooting we've ever had because of the wind.
30-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, if they get a tailwind.
The bird get up and fly into the wind, there's just hovering.
Yeah.
And if they flew with the wind, they were like low-flying jets.
Yeah, they were.
And leading them was, I'm like, well, I was missing. One day I'm just missing and missing. I'm like, Jesse, how far should I be leading these birds? He said, boy, we got way out there about 10 or 15 feet. I'm like, golly, bum.
Yeah, I killed one at probably the farthest distance, fastest flying one I've ever killed up there. And Stuart Richardson was with us, and he goes, dang, JD, you had to have been leading him by a school bus. And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I shot one way out there like that, and I shot him, and he kept flying. I'm like, well, I guess I missed him. Then he fell.
Oh yeah, they'll just keep flying like there's nothing wrong, and all of a sudden he'll turn belly up about 200 yards away and just fall out of the sky.
We saw one that got hit on one of the last walks and got shot. I think you shot it, but it flew all the way across the cutover cornfield from the corn, and then just fell out.
Yeah,
and it quit flying and it died all the way to the ground.
Died in the air. It just died, turned belly up and fell.
Flew 200 yards before it decided, I've had enough. Yeah. And it's weird.
What size shot were y'all using?
What was it, 6?
4s, 5s, and 6s.
Steel shot or
no?
It's a copper.
I didn't know if that.
They make that pheasant load that goes 1,500 feet a second, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't shoot them with powder puff loads. Those birds are very, very, very difficult to kill.
Yeah, there was one. Somebody shot it. It was going in a straight line across the cornfield, and I know it was hit because it did a somersault in the air and then recovered and kept going.
Yeah, seen them do that. Wow. You just knock the mess out of them, and if it's not in the right place, they will do all kind of.
So we had some good shrimp. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to Southern Seafood. They set us up right with those shrimp. We had JD thought I was crazy for putting Brussels sprouts in the Low Country boil. He said he didn't eat Brussels sprouts.
I did too.
They were good.
I ate a bunch of them out
there.
They
were good. You should have put more.
I didn't. I mean, I let everybody go. I didn't get one, but I guess they were good because everybody else ate them.
Well, we were running around there trying to find a pot and get a tank of propane and to get everything squared away, and you were in cook mode. Hey, I need this, I need that, I need this, that, and the other. And I'm like, all right, I went there and finally figured out how to light. I had a heck of a time lighting a dadgum cooker outside because there wasn't anything that was but like matches and cigarette. Like you gave me a little torch, but I wasn't going to get that torch down there and turn on that cooker. I'm like, I want to keep my eyebrows, and I hadn't had that much to drink, and so not that I drank on this trip.
No, you didn't have it.
And so I finally, I tried. I was reaching over there and pulling tree limbs off and trying to light them on fire, and I finally went there and got me a paper towel.
That'll work.
And that worked, in fact, fine. And then I went over and found me something else to do, get out of the way. But no, that shrimp was cooked perfect.
That was good.
Everybody was impressed.
That was it was good. Everybody liked it. It was even the folks from South Dakota who, I guess they don't have them that often.
Yeah.
Well, we had JD's brother Robert brought steaks.
Oh man!
And those were ribeyes from Texas.
Yeah,
from Texas rodeo, Houston rodeo ribeyes.
Yeah, he bought that cow.
Yeah. It's
a steer, I guess, is what he said.
Yep. They auction them off there, raise literally millions of dollars in that program that they do, that he heads up out there. He's one of on the committee, and they raise millions of dollars for scholarships.
And I don't know what that seasoning was, but I got to get that because that stuff. He was over there coating that seasoning.
Yeah,
it's kicking everybody out of the kitchen.
Yeah, it's activated charcoal. It's a seasoning that has activated charcoal in it.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know about that. Boy, one bite of that, and I'm like, this is. I mean,
I want to know what you put in that tartar sauce or the cocktail sauce that you had.
Oh yeah.
Ketchup, mustard, and horseradish.
Ketchup, mustard, horseradish, a little bit of Worcestershire.
Robert was
a couple little seasonings there.
Because my Robert was impressed with that. He goes, I got to figure out how to make that. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm sure Fred will share it because he wasn't trying to hide it from us.
No.
But it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
So we ate well, and then we went out one night and went and ate wings, and we got them to shake some gizzards in some hot sauce.
They were good too.
Yeah. So I went in there and they said, "What?" And so can you put? I told Jesse, I said, "Can they put check the gizzards in some hot and some wing sauce and bring it like that. And I remember I looked over there and Travis had one and he was chewing on it. He looked back and goes, "You do this?" I said, "Yeah, this is something we do at home." And that's pretty cool. You know, it's not something everybody does. It's something
we do.
Something we do
on a regular.
Yeah, the only reason they did that is because I was giving my best pickup lines to that waitress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I told her
the black widow on her arm.
That
one. I was wondering what. Now I remember now.
I asked her if she felt like she was a little mermaid because I wanted to be part of her world.
There's like 24 people in that town. They all know each other, and they'll remember you the next time you come back.
They remembered me this year.
Your favorite waitress?
She did.
Remembered you.
She did. I got 3 or 4 pictures with her. I got.
Yeah, I put them on Facebook.
Making my screensaver.
Yeah. Yeah.
The calendar this year was a lot better. Did
they have a calendar?
Yeah, it was downstairs, and you were sleeping upstairs. Somebody got it, I think, just for me, and put it right outside my bedroom. And it was the Pinup Girls of South Dakota.
I wondered where it went every morning. What's the day? Oh,
Miss December was smoking. Let me just tell you.
What was she smoking?
We'll have to go off the air for that.
I apologize.
But it was a better calendar.
So we did. What else did we? Oh, we found Bob Brown, the taxidermist, up there in Aberdeen. If you're watching this on YouTube, the bird over here on the wall came from Bob, and the jackalope with the price tag up there came from Bob.
Mini pearl.
The mini pearl jackalope. And if you come into the shop, there's a wall. Yeah, Fred's got one in his office here. And I got a couple in my office. And if you come into the shop, we have a taxidermy wall now that is all pheasant stuff, and it is all for sale.
And
we brought it back.
Beautiful, beautiful work. They're such a beautiful bird anyway.
And that jack of pheasant lope, I've never seen one of those before.
That was
you got one of those, didn't you?
I didn't get I got a jackalope.
Got one like that.
You got a jackalope?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing the jackapheasalope.
The jackapheasalope.
Yeah, he needs a jackalus. Anyway,
you mess up. You gonna mess up and say something, or we gonna have to bleep you.
I was purposefully trying not to pronounce the last half of glass in there, but the
a jack-o'-glass?
A jack of glass without the G. That's what you need. Put it up as a piece of art, self-portrait. Man,
the van was nicer to travel in than the.
It was. It's
still a long ride.
It's a long ride. I was able to sleep, except every time I heard a rumple strip, I just in my brain I saw us airborne like family vacation. We'll be back in a minute. And we're back. So let's wind up that and let's talk to Paul about some fishing stuff. But so what did we not? Okay, so let me say this: we did some videographic sort of kind of.
I found out I wasn't no videographer on the deer hunting. I just
didn't work out well.
First question somebody asked when Annie shot the deer was, "Did you get it on video?" Heck, no, I didn't think about picking the camera up. I was too busy trying to kill a deer or let her kill a deer.
I wore a body camera all during the walking and the hunting and the bus rides and everything else, and so there's stuff I can't put out there.
Yeah.
That was said and done, but I mean, your stuff I can, but not my stuff. And so I mean, I'm going back looking at the thing, and I'm not a professional. It's an inexpensive body camera, so we will on the YouTube. I'm going to try to put it together as a separate show episode, just a supplement, and I'll probably try to plug in some of that stuff while we were talking.
And we did an interview with we interviewed
do that.
Jesse and Travis.
That'll look good. Yeah, and I think I'm going to put together one episode just with all that and talk about it, and I'll supplement a little bit. So that's on the GoPro somewhere on the disc. But if all that turns out, and I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet, but so we'll have that, and now the sound on the body camera. And I mean, I don't even know when it's on half the time. I'm in there putting shotgun shells in the closet and climbing in, and I got all that on video. And JD over there talking about, well, what we need to do now. Here's that, and I'm like, well, that's the camera on during that time, but whatever. I just hope I didn't pull what was that lesson? What he did when he went in the bathroom and they had the microphone on with the Queen of England on it, smoking gun or whatever, anyway. So we'll have all that stuff. Yeah. There you go. That was it.
I don't know if you got me busting my tail on that.
I spent half the morning looking for that video, and I'm not done looking. If I have to AI make one up, insert somebody falling their butt, I will find it.
It was Charlie's right behind me, and I'm shooting birds before he can get to them, and you can see him getting aggravated. And we had a bunch of them come up, and Charlie was going to shoot at this bird, and I'm like, I got to kill that bird before he does. And as I'm swinging, I caught my foot on a corn stalk and was going down, and I'm like, I can go down and hit the bird or recover and miss the bird. I chose to hit the bird and bust my tail, but I think he got it on tape.
I was trying my best to get I saw what was happening. I was trying to get that camera pointed at you as hard as I could, and I pray I got it on there.
We were walking through one of the cornfields, and I stepped in a badger hole.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And they do have badgers up there, and I don't. They'll dig a big old, like a gopher hole like we have down here in the middle of the cornfield, and you're not watching where your feet are landing. You're watching for birds and where you're going through the corn and trying not to get beat up by corn stalks. And I stepped in that badger hole about up to my knee. And then the first thought I had was, what if there's a badger in there?
Yeah, did y'all get that on tape where Travis is telling us about that guy that
catching the badger by hand and taking it in the bar and turning it loose?
In the bar and turning it loose?
I don't know if we've heard that story before.
That was pretty funny.
But I think the first thought through my head, because I knew exactly what had happened when I stepped in that hole in the middle of a cornfield. That's a badger hole. And I got out of that thing so fast, and they're like, "You okay? You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm fine. He didn't get me." No, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. I did not get badger got.
Because a badger will whoop your butt.
Oh man,
Yeah. So I dated one once.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So Paul,
yes sir.
Listen, to get to something a little more palatable to the average Bible Belt resident, we talked to you about a little bit about fishing before we go, because you came all the way here to be on the show, which I know you just like hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
So what's going on in the fishing world?
The fish have been biting. The water temperatures dropped down up on Lake Seminole to around in the mid 60s. The crappie have started back biting. So I'm looking forward to going with you and your son here pretty soon.
Good deal.
And man, I tell you, had some brothers come down from Indiana, I think that's where they were, and we caught some big uns, and not on minnows now, on jigs
on artificial bait.
Fishing.
So let me ask you, what is the difference between a crappie and a speckled perch?
Same thing.
That's what I thought.
Or
they call them paper mouths.
Sockeye.
There's a couple right there.
That's
the Cajuns call them sockeye.
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
Crappie, black crappie, speckled perch.
Now we got a lot
mouse.
of black crappie on Seminole. They have a little black line on them. You can see.
But they're good.
And Talcon's a very good crappie lake too.
Okay.
Probably the best fish to swim in the lake to eat.
So we used to catch them trolling on beetle spins. Can you still do that, or
you can?
Can you catch them in Seminole like that?
Yeah, I've done that before.
So are you catching them on artificial, or are you catching them on
all on artificial?
All right. No worms.
No worms.
No minnows.
Yeah, usually crappie eats minnows, but I bet they would hit a worm. But I never.
Oh, I've caught them on worm. Have you accidentally?
Yeah, I've caught them on basset worms before.
Yeah, I caught them on rattle traps.
Yeah, absolutely, and jerk baits. The bass bite's been pretty good too. The fish have definitely feeding up for the winter. I think that water temperature, it gets cooler, it's just going to get better and better. I have a place on the lake where I've been, about 3 weeks ago, the crappie started showing up, and every time I go, they're just more and more.
Is this the time of the year when you...
Yeah, from now all the way till March.
Cold weather.
Very good fishing for crappie right now.
I didn't know that. So that's not a summertime fish.
Well, you can catch them. It's just a little bit harder. They'll kind of follow your bait. You know what I mean? They don't bunch up as big of schools.
So the folks that you're taking fish out, they keeping these fish?
Yes. Well, I had several trips. Some folks just wanted to catch them and throw them back. And had my last trip, people want to take them home with them.
What do you think eats better, a bass or a crappie?
Crappie for sure.
Okay. We don't agree. We agree there.
For sure.
Shell cracker.
Yeah.
Well, shell cracker's a brim.
That's right.
That's in the brim family. Now that's fun. That'll happen a little bit later on, about the end of March. They'll start getting on the bed. You can catch shell cracker now out deeper, but there's nothing funner than getting up on a brim bed and just catch them as fast as you go. That's fun.
So bass are going to be what, February?
Well, you can catch bass now. They're starting to bunch up. You just fish from different lures like Alabama rigs, crankbaits, rattle traps, chatterbaits is working right now. And as we go into the spring, they'll start getting in their pre-spawn, and that's when you can get probably the biggest stringers called Lake Seminoles in February. Before they move up to bed.
Right. So, but if you're a fisherman like me, and I mean, I can't catch fish out of the aquarium at the Bass Pro Shop, and trust me, I've tried. And
they kick you out for that.
Yeah, I want to see that on video.
So you'd want to go perch crappie fishing right now. That's what you.
Yeah, if you're trying to catch something to eat, that's definitely what I do.
Okay. So and then try for the brim in late winter.
Yep.
Or I'm sorry, the bass in late winter.
Yep. From now all the way into the spring.
All right.
The bass fishing, you just catch them different ways depending on the time of year you're fishing.
You going with him?
Yes.
When you going?
That's always the question.
Week after next.
Might get the boat out of the garage. Follow you around on a jet ski.
See anything else happening?
In your G-string?
Starting to see some ducks.
It'd be a little
see some ducks up on the lake.
See some ducks?
Not a bunch. Let me ask you, JD, when typically does a canvas back? I'm not seeing any big, groups of ringnecks out on the main lake. Everything's in the back.
So everything on the duck hunting side is so dependent on cold fronts and weather. They're not going to migrate, and they don't. Everybody thinks that they leave the north and they migrate to the south and it's over with, and that's really not the way it works. They'll bump down when a freeze happens, and when the water freezes over up north, or the fields freeze over, depending on what they're eating or where they're hanging out. They'll move down as far as they have to find open water and food.
Gotcha.
And then if it warms up, they'll bump back up, and then as it gets cold, another cold front comes through, they'll bump back down again. So typically for Lake Seminole canvasbacks, you can always kind of count on them right around Christmas.
Right. I mean, the coots have definitely been coming.
Yeah, and that's the first birds to migrate are the teal. That's why we have an early teal season. Mm-hmm. The wood ducks that are here, for the most part, live here year round. They don't really migrate. We do get some migratory birds in, some wood ducks in. I've got a bird that came from South Carolina that got pushed down with cold. But they're so dependent on the cold weather, and what determines whether or not we have a good duck season or a lot of birds here a lot of times is dependent on how much cold weather is up to our north. So
gotcha.
It varies. But canvasbacks are divers. Lake Seminole's a deep water lake. They dive down under the water and go. They can feed at 15, 18, 20, 25 feet. So do ringnecks and bluebills.
Really? I didn't know that deep.
They'll find a shoal with mussels and crustaceans and stuff living in the deep water, and they'll dive down there and get them.
A couple of years ago, they were really thick, and it was really good canvasback hunting off of St. George Island.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they a lot of them winter in Appalachia Bay.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out real quick before we get off the air. I want to thank Chris Smith for my cinnamon roll this morning.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
From Ground Drops, 810.
He just opened up a new joint right around the corner from my office.
Yeah, 810 Thomasville Road. Him and his son opened up a coffee shop and sweet shop, whatever, and
I had the sausage, egg, and cheese, and it was good.
There you go. So
I mean, I can walk there from my office.
We used to work with him at the sheriff's office. He's a good guy, good family. So, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
laughing their heads off.
Yeah. And also, you know, when like there's a hurricane or something, they always got the sign language guy out there, and you're wondering.
They get animated.
Yeah, they do.
Get animated.
Oh, yeah.
You've got people that just do it, and the rest of them just get in.
Oh yeah.
Doing this crazy crap, and you're like, what in the world?
Oh yeah.
Is that required? Is that something that teach you in school?
Yeah. You know, some of the expressions is.
You better leave. I'm gonna get Fred. Y'all better leave. Or the storm's gonna get you.
That was good.
You come on, brother. I'll get you for that.
I'm not looking.
We got to be recording this,
not looking,
Charlie.
He did that crap to me last night, and I couldn't get it together. I can't look at him. I can't.
I'm gonna look at the court docket and find out when next time you're in court.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get up there in the audience and go, Fred, your client is guilty. You'll never win this case.
I'm not.
I went to court with.
Looks like he's recently shaved. He's got like a coat on with a shirt under it, button on, no tie.
I did wear a sports jacket for a change. So it was leather, but it was a sports coat.
Looked like his name.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Looked like his name was
Don't dress up anymore. Don't dress up anymore.
Like
All right.
had
All
a
right.
chain or something. He's gonna go out
Let's make it happen.
Segment 2.
Make somebody swim with fishes.
In 3, 2, 1.